What world is this? Drink some water. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sam. Thank you so much to all of you who answered my community tab question, which was about whether or not to post weight loss updates here on my channel or just leave them on Instagram. Enough of you voted that you want updates here that I am going to do them, but what I've decided based on your feedback is I will no longer do entire videos dedicated to that. So I'll just give little updates here and there on the channel, and then I will keep the majority of my day-to-day weight loss on my Instagram. So if you want to follow that more closely, Instagram is here. Before I tell this story, trigger warning, TMI warning, I'm going to be talking about uteruses and lady problems. If you don't want to watch that, I'll make sure I include timestamps below in the description in case you want to skip forward and get to the meat of the video. So a few months ago, I made a video talking about how I woke up and my uterus decided it did not want to be part of my body anymore. I actually put a pause on the weight loss journey as talking to doctors. I learned that I have adenomyosis. Probably said that wrong. But instead of endometriosis, where it grows outside the uterus, mine is growing into my uterine muscle. It's very uncomfortable and it feels like someone is stabbing you with a super hot knife. And I have been telling doctors this for years and years and years. And for years and years and years, they've been running tests and telling me that I am absolutely fine. So this was a big breakthrough for me. But the crazy thing is my doctor was actually telling me that adenomyosis is something that a lot of women have not heard about. And that was true for me. I had to Google it because I was like, what the hell is that? I've never heard of that. And it's because she said a lot of doctors won't even tell you that you have it because the only cure for it is hysterectomy to get rid of the pain. And when you're young, in your 30s like I am, that's not what they want to do for you. So they just don't tell you. That's why it's super fun to be a woman and deal with doctors. So anyway, at the request of them, I had to go through a whole series of blood tests and cancer pre-checks, just testing for that stuff to go ahead and get ready for that surgery. So they asked me while I was doing blood tests to sort of just keep things where they should be, not lose any more weight, which I thought was weird, but trust my doctors, but also not gain weight. So what I did was just maintain, and that was really difficult because I am also going through a very stressful time at my job right now. It is our crazy season, and then I just dropped a huge project on my desk right at the same time. So it was really hard not to binge and fall into those old cycles. But what I taught myself or told myself in my head was that when I have the surgery and I'm going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks, what am I going to do? Like, I can't binge during that time and I don't want to gain weight during that time. So I tried really, really hard to maintain even without strictly counting my calories. So that was happening while I was going through the tests. And now that I've made it out of that test phase, I have been given the green light and the suggestion to try to lose as much healthfully as I can before my surgery because it will just make it safer. So if you're curious and you want to sort of follow day by day, or as I remember to post on Instagram, which I'm kind of terrible at, you can follow over there on Insta. And like I said, I will keep the highlights of that here on this channel. So thank you so much for answering that question. I appreciate it. And sorry for that long-winded response on what was happening in my life because it got a little crazy all at once and no one was really prepared for it. Without further ado, let's get into the video topic. Today we are going to be revisiting a YouTuber we've already talked about on this channel by the name of Amberlynn Reid. Now, covering Amberlynn is a little intense because she has a whole community surrounding her on YouTube, which I didn't know until I made my first video where I admitted I hadn't really consumed a lot of Amber content up until that point, and now suddenly it's my entire algorithm. So I just wanted to share that while I don't view myself as a part of that world, I won't be a regular Amber reactor. I think there are tons of them already who are doing a great job. Their content makes me laugh, makes me frustrated when they're frustrated. I enjoy it. It's like watching someone review a TV show, basically. Today, though, I did want to talk about her 10-day mini-series where she told us she was going to weigh in daily, track her calories and her steps, and then share that all with her audience. Now, she doesn't make it clear in the first episode why she's doing this or what she thinks she's going to get out of it. And while I'm not going to do a day-by-day summary, there are some important points that I wanted to lift out of this whole series. Let's dive right in. The first thing I wanted to talk about is how she views calories, her own weight, and weight loss, because it's very intriguing. In the first episode, we see her claiming that if she eats at the calories calculated by her TDEE calculator, that's too many and she doesn't lose weight. If she eats 2,500 calories a day, she maintains her weight, and if she eats 1,800 a day, she will lose weight. She's alluded to this a few times, that her body is just weird when it comes to weight loss and she has to do all these extra things because traditional weight loss advice doesn't work for her. My takeaway was that she was kind of setting us up to prove this, since she did mention it in the first episode, and then what she proceeded to prove were sort of all the stereotypes of fat people and why people make fun of them when they claim that weight loss doesn't work. Let me explain with one frustratingly long clip of what Amberlynn ate over these 10 days. Here you go. So we can see that throughout the whole 10 days, she was eating a lot of fast food, a lot of meals that she did not cook herself. And how are you accurately calorie counting any of this is my first thing, because when you order food, traditionally, they say the nutrition labels are off 10 to 20%. What they actually mean is that it's based upon the person making it. For example, I used to work at a Casey's gas station. Casey's has a very specific way they want you to make pizza. You have to weigh the dough out. You have to weigh the cheese out. You have to do blah, 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 blah. Their pizzas were trash. Not hating on any Casey's fans, but their pizzas were trash because they weren't putting enough cheese on them. The dough was just a little bit too thin. And so what I did when I worked there in the pizza kitchen is I did just a teensy bit more dough and a teensy bit more cheese, and suddenly people were calling asking specifically if I was working to make their pizzas. So again, it's based off of the person, because me using more cheese and more pizza dough means that the calories are going to be a little bit higher. It's almost impossible to track, so you set yourself up for failure straight away there, at least on the tracking end of it, because it is a logistical nightmare to try to figure out how many calories things are. A couple other points of frustration tied directly to the food are on the days she mentions eating pizza.
And my girlfriend's work actually ordered pizza for all their employees, so of course I'm gonna have some. I already had a slice, so I just forgot that I was doing this video, and then I remembered and I was like, oh my god. So yeah, I already had a slice. The slice that I did have was a little bit smaller than this one. So in total, I'm gonna say, because they're pretty thin, so about 600 calories.
So we can see from the clip, she had La Rosa's pizza. She had 3 slices. It kind of looks like cheese pizza. So what I did was I Googled La Rosa's Pizza in Kentucky, because we know that's where she lives. I pulled up their website, pulled up their nutrition facts. It looked like a large pizza, a large cheese pizza on probably a traditional crust. If we look at their calorie counts, she shared that the 3 slices was 600 calories. I calculated 960. So I'm curious how she got 600 calories, because as someone who loves pizza, me, I know that 3 pieces of pizza is going to kill my calories for the day. Where did 600 come from? I would like an explanation. Then my second issue with the food, at least, was just inconsistency of counting. In one clip, she shows that she ate some fried mozzarella things from Maggiano's and says, I counted the calories really high on these, even though I only took a bite, because cheese is really high in calories. And then in the next breath, she shows this Mexican dish literally covered in cheese. Like, you can see the cheese. She eats most of the cheese. You can see it in her video clip, but she calorie counts this really low. And then she adds a little like, I think I underestimated. I usually overestimate, but this time I think I underestimated bit to it. And like, yeah, of course you did. Did you see how much cheese you ate? That's a lot of calories. So I think just try to find some consistency in the measurement, if that's even possible. Consistency in chaos, it's probably not a thing, but try. And then finally, this one is on the opposite end of the spectrum. She calculated her Chick-fil-A and her cake pops at higher calorie counts than they actually were, probably because they were uploaded wrong into MyFitnessPal, and instead of going ahead and entering it herself or scrolling through and finding the one that was the most accurate, which is what you should do, she just calculated them at higher calories. Now, as someone who has struggled with binge eating disorder and calorie counting and can feel your pain quite literally, stop doing that. What that does is it creates a mental thing in your head where suddenly at the end of the night, if you do look at your app, like you mentioned, and you're like, wow, I really don't have any calories left, you'll start saying, oh, but I overcalculated this and I overcalculated that. And it kind of gives you an excuse and it gives you some wiggle room to do that binge at the end of the day. So I wouldn't recommend that because it just lets you have that wiggle room in your brain. And when you have binge eating disorder, your brain sometimes is your biggest enemy. And I'm just going to add as a last point and most alarming point for me on the food is the fact that in the whole 10 days series, we see her drinking a lot of Diet Coke, a lot of Diet Dr. Pepper. We see her drink 1 bottle of water. And she admits it's her first bottle of water of the day. And it's 11:45 p.m. What world is this? Drink some water. It's so bad for you to not drink water. Please, please, please drink some water. Honestly, one of the best things I ever did for myself was get this gigantic flask thing for water. I don't know what it's called. It's not a flask, but get this gigantic thing for water because I drink 1, sometimes 1.5 of these every single day. And keeping myself hydrated has been super, super helpful to not binge eating. And I know I said that was my last point on the food, but I lied, sorry. My other last thought on the food is that we do get a few clips of some homemade meals being plated, already plated, but there's not a food scale in sight. How on earth are you measuring your portions? There's this clip of you putting butter on bagels, talking about how you're using way less butter than a serving.
So I just put the butter. I probably use about less than 2 servings, probably. But I'm going to log it as 2 servings, even though I'm using less than. Actually, I use drastically less than 2 servings, so I'm probably just gonna log it as a 1.5 servings.
But it's clear that no, you're not, because if you measure your butter, it is not that much. You did the same thing when you ate something with ranch on it, and as a fellow Midwesterner who loves some ranch, I was more than a serving size of ranch, because when I eat ranch, I do have to physically weigh it out. Otherwise, I'm eating like double the calories because I love ranch dressing. Okay, so in addition to the food being problematic, which you could have already guessed, I just wanted to highlight a few points that I gathered from watching her entire series overall. Throughout the series, she talks a lot about her sleep patterns, how she's not getting enough sleep, how she's not getting very good sleep, how she is staying up super late, but also waking up super early, and that, as you know, can be very problematic, and sleep is very important to staying on track. For me, I find if I sleep really terribly and I wake up and I'm just groggy and grumpy, I am much more likely to binge or try to eat sugary foods early in an effort to kick myself awake. And then once I eat sugar, I just want to eat more sugar throughout the day. So sleep is a big deal when it comes to weight loss. So that could be helpful to you in the future. Get that sleep schedule together. Another conversation I really wanted to highlight was the comment she made about eating the same as everybody else, aka her friends.
Oh yeah, it's like a really big misconception that like fat people like can eat so much at once. Like I think 600 Pound Life does that. They exaggerate their content 100%. Like they exaggerate how much people eat. Yes, obviously we eat way too much. What I'm trying to say, speaking from my own experience, I do get full fast. I just like to eat a lot throughout the day, and it's just like constant, and like when I binge, that's when it's like really bad. But when I'm like hanging out with friends and stuff and we're like ordering food, like we all order similar things and we all eat similar amounts, so I find it very just like, I don't know, the whole thing is weird because like today especially, like everything I eat today is like practically the same shit that like everyone I was with ate.
So you can see she talks a little bit about how they ordered and ate the same things as she did in the same amount. So she can't figure out why they are maintaining their weights, healthy weights, while she has gained weight her entire life. And that is a line of thought that is not new. We see that, I saw that in myself. We see that in weight loss YouTubers like Obese to Beast and others. But the difference between us and Amber is that we realize that that line of thinking is flawed, because what you're actually seeing is a snapshot of your friends eating that way for one meal, for one day, out of an entire week. And what we saw from your videos and your food montage that we just watched are that you eat like this consistently. Every single meal, every single day. It's insane. So no, your eating patterns are not the same as their eating patterns. And that is clear as day if you watch your entire series and all of the meals that you show us. And then the one that really got me was at the end of one video, she was saying she was super proud because she usually eats 5,000 to 6,000 calories on a Friday. And then in the intro to the next video, she said, I gained weight and it had to do with water retention from being in the car. So is the weight gain on the weekends from eating too many calories or sitting in the car for too long? I'm gonna go ahead and guess it's the calories that you're consuming on the weekend. And again, that is not unusual. Lots of people fall off track, including moi, when it gets to the weekends, because all plans just go out the window, or you try to keep your weekends kind of random and not planned, and you just end up eating way more than you should. So again, that is not unusual, but blaming it on the car causing water retention is some mental gymnastics that I was unprepared for. And while I was setting up to film this video, Amber released a new video, her second season of her series, where she says, 500 pound girl, watch me lose 100 pounds. And I'm not gonna get into the 100 pounds of it because that has been covered by reaction channels. But the thing that caught my attention straight away is that she already lowered her calorie goal so much. We just watched in this whole 10-day series that you were trying to eat lower than 2,500 calories. You miscalculated your calories the entire time and you were eating close to 3,000 calories per day-ish, and now you're suddenly trying to drop them down, and that is why you continue to fail diets. I don't understand the mental gymnastics where you're just not allowing yourself to get there. In the words of Alan Roberts, get there faster. The reason that so many people are frustrated watching Amberlynn is it just takes her forever to just connect the dots I put 2 and 2 together. It has nothing to do with her eating 2,500 calories, has everything to do with her miscalculating and then trying to lower her calories so much that she fails. And that is why the famous Amberlynn Reid cycle exists. That is why we watch her fail diet after diet after diet. And that's why people get really, really frustrated with her, because there's no method to the madness. And it's the literal definition of insanity to continue to do the same things and expect different results. Where has this pattern gotten you in the past? Why do you think continuing the same pattern is going to be conducive to get you further in the future? I'm not sure, but I'm sure that if you've ever watched Amberlynn Reid or ever heard of Amberlynn Reid, you know she's an example of what not to do when you're trying to lose weight. And that's unfortunate. I never would wish anything bad on anyone, but like, get it together. So anyway, Amber will continue to be an example of what not to do when you're trying to lose weight, and she'll probably continue to play a caricature of a typical fat woman and fat stereotypes while failing at diets. So who are you really trolling? Us or yourself? All right, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.